It's been 2 months since my mom passed away. She was my best friend, my emotional anchor, and also an incredibly organized woman. She left everything in order: her will, bills, documents, and an inheritance she built over a lifetime of hard work, about $500,000, which she left solely to me. In the midst of grief and heartbreak, I could barely handle the bureaucratic side of things. But since I'm a university professor and used to dealing with spreadsheets and paperwork, I took a deep breath and started organizing the accounts. That's when something odd came up. Among the bank statements, I noticed a $50,000 transfer to an account I didn't recognize. When I checked the history, I saw that the transfer had been made a few weeks ago, without my knowledge. The name linked to the account? My husband's. We've been married for 6 years. Our life has always been comfortable, but nothing extravagant. I knew he'd been stressed about work. He's a real estate agent, and the market's been unstable. When I asked him about it, his answer was vague. He said it was a short-term investment, and that he didn't want to worry me. No proof, no details. He changed the subject, brushed it off like it was no big deal. I have to admit, it didn't sit right with me. I've always trusted him. I never imagined he'd touch that money without talking to me first, especially something that came from my mom, something so meaningful and painful for me. For a while, I tried to convince myself it wasn't a big deal, that he'd return the money, that I was overreacting. But that nagging feeling never went away. After discovering that $50,000 transfer made by my husband, I decided I couldn't just let it go. I started paying more attention to the little things. His phone, for instance, was always on silent now. He started coming home later, always with some excuse like difficult clients or traffic. And what bothered me the most, he avoided any serious conversations. I asked if we could go to couples therapy. He agreed, but missed the first session, said he forgot. He skipped the second one too, claiming there was an emergency meeting. By the third, he didn't even bother replying to my message. That's when I started realizing this wasn't just about money. It was about respect, about trust, about the way he started treating me ever since my mom passed away. Speaking of her, I found out something even more disturbing. My mom had a best friend, Lana. They worked together for over 20 years at a law firm. They were always really close, and ever since my mom died, Lana's been an incredible support to me. Yesterday, while having coffee with her, I casually mentioned the money issues and what was going on with Daniel. And she said something I wasn't expecting. Lana told me my mom never fully trusted him. She thought he was too charming, too superficial, and always way too concerned with money. According to Lana, my mom mentioned a few times that she wouldn't trust him completely, and that she had doubts about how he'd act if he ever had access to my inheritance. What hurts the most is that I didn't know any of this. My mom never said a word to me. Since that conversation, one thought keeps circling in my head. Did I idealize Daniel for so long that I failed to see who he really is? I don't know if he's cheating on me, if he's planning something, or if he just made a selfish decision thinking he had the right to. After talking to Lana about my mom's suspicions regarding Daniel, I decided to stop living in doubt. I'm not the paranoid type. I've always been very rational. But I was starting to feel emotionally manipulated. And the more I tried to trust him, the more distant he became. I spoke to someone I knew from campus who had gone through a messy divorce. He recommended a private investigator from Boston. Discreet, professional, experienced. I called her, explained the situation, and she agreed to look into it carefully. It didn't take long. Less than a week later, she sent me a report. Daniel had rented an apartment in Cambridge nearly 4 months ago. A small place, but in a great location. The lease is under a woman's name, Chloe, 27 years old. And according to what the investigator saw, he goes there at least twice a week. Always around the same times, usually after client meetings or property visits. The most devastating part was the photos. Them walking together, shopping. going into the apartment like any ordinary couple. One in particular hit me, the two of them laughing inside a cafe, her hand resting on his. Real intimacy. And there's more. Chloe is pregnant. The investigator was cautious and said she couldn't be certain the baby is his, but based on the dates, how often they're together, and the photos, it seems very likely. I felt betrayed on so many levels, I don't even know where to start. He didn't just spend part of the inheritance my mom left me. He built an entirely new life behind my back, and had the nerve to act like I was the dramatic one for questioning anything. Today, he came home like nothing happened. Kissed me on the forehead and asked what was for dinner. I just said I'd order takeout. He didn't even notice my state. I've been keeping quiet. I wake up before him, make my coffee like always, but I don't say a word. When he tries to talk, I answer with short sentences. He seems to notice something's off, but not enough to realize what's coming. I started gathering evidence. Everything the detective sent me, I put it all in an encrypted folder. I also went over the bank statements again and noticed other suspicious transactions, not as big as the 50 grand, but consistent. Small withdrawals, payments to companies I've never heard of. I reached out to a lawyer who specializes in family, law and asset division. I told her everything. She was clear. Even though the money is inheritance and technically mine, if he can prove it was mixed with our shared assets, he might have a claim to part of it. But with the proof of the affair and the misuse of the money, things could lean in my favor, especially if I stay calm and strategic. The hardest part was emotional. I opened up to my sister, who lives in another state. She was shocked, cried with me over the phone, and said Mom would have been devastated. But she also reminded me that our mom raised us to be strong, that she always taught us dignity isn't negotiable. Today, I made a symbolic decision. I took off my wedding ring. He hasn't noticed yet, or he's pretending not to. I plan to confront him. Not impulsively, but with everything ready. Lawyer, documentation, exit plan. I'm already looking for a new place to live. I don't want that house anymore. Not after what it came to represent. It's painful to realize the life you built was, in part, based on a lie. But it's even more painful to keep pretending it's still real. I woke up early, like always, made my coffee, drank it alone, sat at the kitchen table. When he walked into the room, I asked if we could talk. For the first time in weeks, he actually looked serious. No yelling, no drama. I just looked him in the eyes and told him everything I knew. The transfers, the rented apartment, the other woman, the pregnancy, everything. He tried to deny it, said he was protecting me, that it was a temporary mistake, that he loved me. Even said he wasn't sure, the baby was his. Desperation, excuses. I told him he'd be hearing from my lawyer soon, that everything was documented, that the house would be mine, but I didn't even want it, that he'd never get another cent of my mom's inheritance. He snapped, slammed his hand on the table, called me ungrateful, said I was destroying everything we built together. I was scared, yes, but I didn't back down. I've lived enough to know that when the truth hurts, the guilty one always tries to flip the script. I left the house that same afternoon with the suitcase I'd packed the night before. I'm staying at a friend's place for now, and today, for the first time in a long time, I breathed without feeling heavy. This morning, I got a text from an unknown number. It was Chloe. She saw the legal filings, heard about the confrontation, and, to my surprise, wanted to talk. Said Daniel lied to her too. Said he used her name to open a fake company and hide money transfers. That he promised to leave everything behind. Swore he loved her. And she only found out the truth when debt collectors started calling about something she didn't even know existed. She's about to sue him for fraud and emotional abuse. And me? I'm rebuilding. I filed for divorce with full asset separation. I'm distancing myself from the house, the places, the memories that hurt. And I've started something new, with help from Lana and my sister. Sometimes all we need is for someone to say, "You're not crazy, this is wrong, and you deserve to walk away with your dignity." I'm walking away with my head held high, hurt but free.